guys, it's Kelly here, and today I am participating in a blog hop with Spellbinders, which is super exciting. They have a bunch of really fun kits. We'll get into that in a minute. This is the Small Die kit of the month. I'm only using just the cover plate for this particular card, but as you saw, it came with a little heart die cut flower and like a banner die cut flower. And this kit is $15. You get the dies, which is awesome, and you subscribe to this. It's a monthly kit. So for the hop, Spellbinders is generously giving away three $25 gift cards to the store from the comments left on their blog, and that closes January 16th at 11:59 p.m. So let's get into the card. Here I have just taken a piece of white cardstock. I have taped it in place with the cover plate. And this looks crazy. I know it looks crazy. Hang with me. I am using washi tape because there's so many like little pieces, parts to this die that even though I know that it's going to cut through the tape, it really does that extra like sticky layer helps to kind of keep the pieces, parts in place in the die. You'll see that this worked mostly. I did lose some of the bigger pieces, but most of the smaller pieces stayed in place. So I'm just holding it up in the light to make sure that I've got it lined up where like the die will actually cut. And so this is how it came out. Like I said, most of the pieces, parts are in place. Almost all the little ones are. The bigger pieces, I think I had to put like 3 or 4 back in. And the reason that I did this, it's totally not necessary, but I did it because I knew I was going to be having a lot of colors going on. I knew I wanted a rainbow card. And so this was going to be easier for me to know what color should be what. This is one of those videos. You know how sometimes you guys leave me comments and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that you leave in your mistakes. Get ready. Get ready, y'all. So I numbered all the little panels so I know which ones would go where when I was putting my card together. And then I'm going to set that to the side. I made this card so much harder than it needed to be. And sometimes that just happens. So I decided that the easiest way to color my panels was going to be using my distress ink. And then I did a rainbow of colors. I substituted red in the rainbow for this pink, this picked raspberry, just because I prefer the pink. But you can do whatever you want. I think this card would look super cool with like monochromatic colors where you did like a gradient of, I would do blues, you know how I am. Or, like black and white. I think that would look super cute, or gray and white, gray and black. Anyway, I wanted to do a rainbow. That's what I did. If I had known how this card was going to play out, I would have colored all of the heart sections at the same time I did the background pieces. But I had a different game plan that did not work out. So that's why I'm showing you the whole thing, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. And so I was kind of figuring it out as I went along, and I wanted to share that whole thing with you, just so you would not make the same mistake that I did if you chose to use your die this way. But yeah, so we're just going to go through and do some distress ink blending over all of the pieces, parts. That's what we're doing here. Again, in hindsight, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have chose a lighter green and a lighter yellow. So maybe like Twisted Citron and Squeezed Lemonade instead of Mowed Lawn and Mustard Seed, just because I felt like they were a little darker than I wanted them to be, than I wanted my rainbow to be. But yeah, otherwise, like totally cute birthday card that I can send to pretty much anybody. As far as the kits go, if you're not familiar with them, they are such a good deal. So this particular one, this small die, you get 3 dies for $15, which is super cheap. They also have, which is my favorite one, they have a clear stamp and a clear stamp and die. So they're 2 different ones, but you can do, like I said, they're a subscription-based kit. But the clear stamp and die is sold out. Okay, I'm sorry. It is. Jennifer used it in one of her videos, and it just sold right off the shelves, which is amazing for Spellbinders. I do have a card with those. I'm not sure if I'm going to share them or not because right now you cannot purchase those products, and I feel like that's super unfair. Like that for me to show you something that you can't go get if you fall in love with it. Back to the card. So here I have the frame portion that was left over, and I'm going to use this to keep my inlay straight. That's what we're doing today, die cut inlay. So originally I was going to tape it down, and I realized that wasn't going to work. So I went to my good old handy dandy tried and true Tombow Mono multi-glue. Because it dries repositionable, I can put just like a small bead of glue on the edges, wait for that to dry. It'll still be tacky. It'll hold itself in place for me to put my other pieces parts in, and then I'll be able to peel it off. Do you need to peel it off? No, you don't. You could leave it there. You could glue it down permanently and it would be totally fine. But I wanted there to be different layers of dimension on my card, and so that's why I chose to make it so that I could remove it. Here I'm just tapping my fingers along there trying to make sure that it is still tacky because this glue is permanent if you put it down wet. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to like rip my card after I went through all this work to put everything together. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, back to the kits. The clear stamp and die are sold out. But if you love the stamp set is still available for only $10. Like the subscription is $10 for the clear stamp, which, as you know, in this industry is like dirt cheap. So I will link to that if you're interested in checking that out. The clear stamp and die is $17.50. So you figure you're paying $10 for the stamp. So for $7.50 you get the coordinating dies. This particular month is sold out, but if you're looking for a kit, these are a really great deal. So just keep that in mind, maybe for future kits. You can buy them after the fact, and I may wait until they're in the past kits section to share that video just because they would be available then. But we'll see. If you were one of the winners of the giveaway that I did back in January, you actually got that card, the card that I made that with those stamps and dies, because I made two different ones, and those were the ones I mailed out. So, well, I didn't mail them out, Eric did. You know how I do. So back to the card. Here is my original game plan, guys. My original game plan was to color them with the distressings and then just do the little pieces parts with my Copic markers. I would just select an ink that matched, and then that way I wouldn't have to try to ink blend all of the little pieces. Let me tell you, in hindsight, I should have just gone directly to the ink blending. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It took less time than me coloring each individual piece, and it matched better. So this whole step that I'm showing you here, completely unnecessary. Don't do this. I'm showing you this so that you will not make the same error that I did. But anywho, they fit obviously like little puzzle pieces. They fit right back in there, and I just glued them back down. Here is where things started to go awry with the coloring. So I started off with an RV04 because I thought that was the closest match to the picked raspberry. It was a little light. It didn't match well enough. So then I switched to an RV09, and I just went right over top of that. And that was too dark. But neither one of them was purple enough, if that makes, any sense. But I'm just pushing through. I'm like, maybe once it dries, Copic markers are always darker when they're wet. I'll go ahead and put it in, and then, it should be good enough. Another thing I would change in hindsight. We're Monday morning quarterbacking the absolute daylights out of this card. But that's okay because that's how you learn. And I'm all for learning and getting better at things. If I had to do it again, once I got my top portion in place, which is what I'm doing here, I would have glued my heart in the center. And again, this would have made it so much easier to line everything up. I didn't really have any issues as far as making sure that they were even. But I was paranoid about it the whole time, and it would have just put my mind at ease to put the heart in there and know that they were lined up. I should have done it. I didn't. So now I've gone on and I've moved to the purple. The purple I've gone with is an RV04, which is clearly much brighter than the wilted violet ink. And this is where I made my decision that I was no longer going to do this. It just didn't match. It was driving me crazy. And there was no reason for it because I had the colors that I previously used. So now we're going to go back in and we're going to remove these. I told you, I made it so much more difficult than it needed to be. So I used my tweezers and I went in and I was like, am I going to have to die cut this whole thing? I did not. I was not able to salvage the pieces that I had already glued down, but that's okay. Because remember in the beginning when I taped everything and I said I knew that they wouldn't stay together because I had previously die cut it, I didn't throw away those pieces. I know me, and I know that I'm not good with the finicky bits. And because I know that, I saved all of those pieces and I put them in a little cup. So I had like the heart portions of it. I just needed to pull them out, the ones that I needed, and then I colored them that way. I did all of my coloring on my media mat here because it's super easy to clean up. And I thought the reason I didn't do the distress inks right away is because I thought I would have to chase them around or hold them down. I did not. I didn't have to do any of that. I literally just pounced and twisted my little foam ink blender and it colored them perfectly. So again, more difficult than it needed to be prior. And now I have to like go through all the distress inking. So if you recreate this card, please, for the love, save yourself some time and a little bit of sanity and do all the distress inking at the beginning. Alternatively, you could just cut the sections out of colored paper, like colored cardstock, colored paper, make it sound like we're in kindergarten, and you know that we're far beyond the degrees of kindergarten here in the world of crafting. All of us, not just me. There was who was it? Somebody had sent me a message on Instagram. By the way, if you want to get a hold of me, Instagram is kind of the place to do it. I do read all of your comments here, but if you want to have like a back and forth conversation, Instagram is the way to go because I'm much more active on there. Somebody had sent me a message and they're like, my coloring doesn't look like yours. And we've been over this before, and we're going to go over it again because it's super important that you know that you don't color like me because I color like me, and I don't color like you because you color like you. And that does not mean that my cards are better or my coloring is better or your cards are better or your coloring is better. It means that it's different. And where would we be in the world if all of us did everything exactly the same? It would be boring. It would be so very boring. So please don't put down your own talents. You are talented in your own right, just as I believe I am talented in my own right. God gives us all different gifts. And like looking at other people's cards, they do techniques that I could not do or I don't enjoy. Other people do coloring that is well advanced beyond my capabilities. And I'm not envious of that because practice makes perfect. And if I put more time in it, maybe I would be better at it. But I don't put the time in because I'm happy with the level that I'm at. And it doesn't always have to be, even though in the great old US of A, we often think so. It doesn't always have to be bigger, better, faster, stronger. Tell me what song that's from. It doesn't always have to be that. It can just be whatever level you are and still be pretty just the way that it is. So please don't put yourself down. It breaks my heart when you all do that. So okay, yeah, back to the card. So now that I have those distressing colors filled in, I am going to go in and start filling in the bottom portion of it. this green, y'all. I really wish that I would have picked a different green. Not that I don't love mowed lawn. It is like my go-to color. But it just, I don't think I like the green next to the mustard seed. I think that's my real problem, which is comical because my children's birthstones are, in fact, those colors. Nathan is an emerald, which is beautiful. Caitlin is citron, which is less beautiful. I was so hoping she was going to be an October baby because I wanted the opal, because opal goes with everything, but that's not what I got. And I know that there's like 2 birthstones for some birthstones, and I'm pretty sure the other one for November is a blue topaz, which is beautiful and I love. But I'm also pretty sure that's I'm sorry, not for October, for November. Did I say October? Who knows? Who knows what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure blue topaz is also for December, so I feel like that's very misleading. But yeah, so hers is citrine. You know how I don't like purple? I would have settled for purple. I like yellow even less. But I'm happy that I have a happy, healthy little baby. She is definitely more smiles and more coos as of late, so that is wonderful. And of course, the baby snuggles have always been fantastic. But yeah, so Eric bought me a bracelet for Christmas, which really is very pretty. And it has the kids' birthstones on there. But that is also my college colors, were like golden green. So maybe that's why I have a hard time processing it. But that is what we have. That is what my children's birthstones are. I am green as well. I am a peridot. And Eric is purple. He is an amethyst. So we're purple, green, yellow, green. No, purple, green, green, yellow. Yeah, that's what we are. So here what you see me doing is I have an adhesive eraser, and this is because I'm, have all these little finicky parts, and sometimes the glue gets where you doesn't want it, or I have it on my fingertips. And so I'm just going back through and kind of cleaning up those areas to make sure that I don't have any adhesive where I don't want. And at this point, everything is inlaid. This second, I used the heart from the first time I die cut it, because you know how I roll. I'm going to use the second heart to pop it up, because I wanted that dimension. You know what I'm saying. And so I'm removing the tape off the back. It's washi tape. It came off really easy. Didn't give me any hard time. And then I'm going to pop up the center on foam, just because it's going to add that little bit of extra interest. And then I'm going to put that other white heart right over top. You could do any color you wanted here. Any neutral I think would look good. But I did like the white with all of the rainbow colors that were going on. And I knew I wanted to do my sentiment in black because that's what I always do. Not that it's not good to break out of the box. Obviously, I have a card here that's almost all die cutting and only the sentiment is stamped. So clearly, I'm breaking out of my own box. This sentiment is actually from a different clear stamp of the month. It's called Sending Floral Wishes, and it was from July of last year. This is still available for purchase. Like, once they're in that past kits section, you can just buy them without subscribing. So just keep that in mind. Maybe I should link that so you can browse. I'll link that so you can browse. But I'm just going to be doing some white heat embossing just like I always do. And here, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't like using products that are sold out or no longer available, but I did cut it out with the banner from the clear stamp and die set. But Spellbinders has a different, well, it's the same banner, but it's just in a different set. So I will link that below. So if you really super love this banner die, you could do that, or you could just cut it out yourself. Or wait until, the past kits. They have other banner dies too. They're Spellbinders. They have dies for everything. They're awesome. So I'm going to pop this up on foam now that it's, I've run that through my platinum. I'm just going to remove that tape and stick it down in the center-ish of the heart. And then I'm going to accent that with these Spellbinders just came out with these not that long ago. They're color essential gems. My favorite one is the Prism. It's like a holographic purpley blue, black, pinkish. It's so pretty. It's hands down my favorite one, and that's what I'm using here. I also love all the different sizes it comes in. So it has like an extra large, a large, a medium, and a teeny tiny. And I like that because I like to vary my sizes when I am putting my rhinestones on my cards, as you can see here. So after this was done, I was like, it still needs a little something, something more, glam, more shimmer, more sparkle, if you will. So I got out my Stardust Stickles. Stardust Stickles are the cat's pajamas because they take on the color of whatever is underneath it. So it goes with everything. Everything. It's like a neutral colored cardigan. You cannot go wrong with Stardust Stickles. So I'm putting that on all of the heart halves to the right. And so every color, you'll be able to see every color with a little bit of sparkle on it. Then to the left, the good old glossy accents. I think that people often forget about glossy accents and its capabilities, but it creates this almost like enamel coating so that they look almost like stickers, which is so fun. And it's something that I used to add to my, like if I was making a more masculine card, I would for sure go with glossy accents. When I was making cards way back in the day for Operation Right Home, which is no longer a thing, I used a ton of glossy accents because you couldn't use glitter. So it's just a great thing to have in your arsenal. But anywho, this is the whole card. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're watching on YouTube, follow the link below so that you can hop along and you won't miss out on your chance to win. So thank you guys so much. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.